What's poppin', everybody? Hello and welcome to Popcorn Culture. My name is Ben Carlin and I am your host. Here with me today is my brother Jay, who will be in every episode.
I am here just like I always am in every single episode. I just want to say, I don't know, I think today would be a great day Patreon-wise if a lot of times we do a lot of funny faces at the camera. We do a lot of faces to the camera.
We call it thumbnailing tins.
Thumbnailing tins.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. The little box that you click on YouTube is the thumbnail, obviously.
Right,
and,
obviously.
And so every single week, we need to take photographs of ourselves in order to look silly.
Exactly. And we don't always know what we're going to talk about, so we got to make like a variety of faces and then just sort of pick and choose after the fact to match whatever the title ends up being. And I would just say that typically I don't think we normally share the unused thumbnailing pins, but today I feel like we should for this episode we should post all of the unused ones in Patreon.
I like it
because it was a really I was going all out.
You know what we'll do? We'll post them to Patreon just as free public facing, so you don't have to be a patron in order to see them.
Just go check it. That's true. Yeah.
Just go check it out. You know, if you happen to click around while you're there and they're like, "Whoa, there's a bunch of interesting stuff. Like I like this podcast. Maybe I want to support them." Anyway, you can do that. Patreon.com/popcornculture.
Do you know that on more than one occasion I have tried to be I have thought to myself I want to be really intentional in Super Carlin Brothers videos about making very funny faces and try and make become like that being a known part of the Jonathan Carlin online personality, that this guy does a good funny face.
Is this a fact?
Yes, it's a fact.
Are you telling me for the first time ever that there has been active intention all this while?
There's been active intention. There has been terrible execution, because I think about it a lot when I'm not on camera and almost zero when it's actually filming time.
Oh, sure. Yep.
Yeah. It rarely comes through, but I'm saying it out loud now to you so that maybe when we're filming, you can be like, this would be a great time for one of those patented J. Carlin funny faces.
I'm on the complete, for one, I find this to be hilarious that this is something that you would have held enough importance in your mind in order to want this to be a known characteristic about what you're putting out into the world.
Right.
Was there an inspiration at some point where you were like, man, you know what I really like about insert comedian here?
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey.
Yeah, for sure.
So you're going for the king of funny faces.
There's no way to top Jim Carrey. but I think there's room. There's room to be in the circle. It's not just one person has to stand there.
Well, that's true. But if
I'm not trying to be the top dog or anything, I don't have his face. I can't. This is the thing. This is my real downfall when it comes to a facial comedian.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I can't do a single eyebrow thing. I'm not good at. I've literally spent time staring in the mirror, trying to work the eyebrow muscle that if there's things you can do to develop this skill, I haven't, it's probably it's one Google away, but as I've definitely spent time staring in the mirror trying to move a single eyebrow, and it's I can't. I can't do it. You can do it.
I can do it, but I can only do it with my left eyebrow. Well, I'm literally as you're talking right now, I'm trying to raise my right one up. No. Okay. Yeah. No. So I can't do my right one, but I can do my left one, and I don't really know when that happened. It's almost it's learning how to whistle or something like that, where it's almost I think probably at once upon a time I did it once, and it was hold, freeze, nobody do anything. Now I need to focus all my energies on figuring out how to be able to repeat this particular thing.
Right. So my backup move, since I can't actually lift one eyebrow, is more to widen one eye.
Okay.
Which is sort of also normally a part of that look, but it's it doesn't get the full effect because I can't raise the one brow. It's
that's too bad.
I know, it's a real downside to my
you want to know what's funny though?
My repertoire.
Yeah, right. I know. Yeah, that's exactly it. No, but I hate when you're taking a group photo and somebody lobs out, and now let's do a silly one. Mm-hmm. Because I'm always in the moment. It's kind of I don't really know what's appropriately silly for this occasion. I feel I can't stick my tongue out very far. Mm-hmm. I feel the little thing that holds your tongue to the bottom of your mouth or whatever is I feel mine has got a short leash. It's it's not going anywhere. So you can't do tongue out silly face. I feel if you just do moose antlers or something, that's just just so overplayed, you know.
Oh,
It's like what is a good funny face that will convey from like far away?
Yes,
you know, that somebody's
you know.
gonna look at it and be like, wow, that's a good one. That's a good funny face.
Right.
What do you do? Do you have a go-to?
I normally just do like tongue out kind of thing.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
You'd think someone trying to make it in the funny face world would have more of like an answer to this question.
I know,
But
yeah.
I don't. It's mostly just like, nah, you know.
Well, that was pretty
Kinda
good though.
thing.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's a good silly face.
Oh, good. Thank
Yeah.
you. See, you know.
So I think a lot of
I'm
times
not entirely unpracticed over here.
Right, yeah, no,
I say
naturally.
stick my tongue out. Yeah, there's a lot going on.
right. I mean, it's you know, it's multidimensional.
about
Like there's
angles, you
there's
know.
like layers. So I mean, like
Right.
looking at your face, I can tell that not only do you kind of have like tongue out, but like a little bit of like a head tilt, and like eyes are kind of like different like openings and stuff like
Exactly,
that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you're like the little emoji that
Exactly.
does like the tongue out
So,
thing.
you know.
Yeah, which is like one of those. I think when it comes to the emote library, I find myself, and especially here lately, I don't know what it is about. Like at Office, we use a program called Slack, which is just basically like it's got like all of the different categories of like the different projects that we're working on, so that we can keep stuff straight and all that. And like one of the things that I feel like I have really leaned into way heavy lately is just going through and trying to like have like a unique emoji response to like everybody's like individual little like, hey, this just got uploaded. It's like, okay, good deal. And like, like I'll drop,
It is funny to me how like almost no matter whatever like text group you're in, how like certain emojis will like work their way into like the vernacular of that particular conversation.
Yes. Yep.
Like
yep.
in our Slack, like I use the lettuce emoji all the time.
Leafy greens
or whatever it is. And it's like, most of the time, I bet almost no one uses the leafy green emoji almost ever to any effect. But it basically just means the same as like using the fire emoji in any other context, where it's just like, that's awesome.
But this
is fire.
To clarify, this is only in our office that this is
Only
true.
in our
Yeah,
Slack.
like,
In Slack, if I respond to you with a lettuce emoji, it is like, well done, awesome, love it, great.
Yes.
And everyone knows that.
Right.
Or I hope everyone knows that.
I know, yeah.
I'm like, does Isybelle know? Certainly she's figured it out by context clues by now.
I don't know. There was one day last week where I was dropping a whole row of emojis on something she said, and then I realized that the first 4 that I had put on there were all red. So then I just put a whole bunch of other red related emojis. So I may have like diluted the pool a little bit and just put sheer randomness. So
Well,
maybe
do you have your phone on you now? What are your
hang on, yeah,
what
I
are
do.
your current 3?
Almost certainly the one that's called Joy, but is actually the one where like the laughter face has like the tears coming out of the sides.
I mean, yeah, that is.
It's hard for that. I mean, then okay, so I feel like mine are kind of boring. But what I was going to tell you is that I feel like I'll find like my voice. It's almost like learning like a new vocabulary word.
Yeah. Where
like sometimes like I will discover an application for an emoji, and then all of a sudden it's sort of like I'm like, ooh, I now have like a new, better way. Like they just recently added like the one where like the face is melting a little bit. And have you seen that one?
Like a pool on the ground, kind of.
Yeah. And I feel like that one has become like highly applicable. Like, oh my gosh, Allie, I just did something embarrassing, and you can send the like the face sync emoji or whatever.
Yes, that's very good.
So I got the joy laughter. I have like the blush face, sort of like wide eye open, sort of like embarrassed one.
Yeah.
Clearly I'm embarrassed a lot.
Yeah.
It's when I like that comes out. I have the tears, like the sobbing tears one.
Like what, like sadness tears?
Yeah, like-
not like laughing, crying.
Not laughing, crying, but like two clean streaks of tears coming out of what is otherwise a sad face. But like sometimes I feel like you could send that one as like, oh man, my grocery order subbed out my apples for spaghetti.
Like an ironic amount of sadness.
Yeah, an ironic amount of
Yeah,
sadness.
yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, I feel like I'm probably using it more frequently for ironic sadness than I am for actual sadness.
Right.
But not never. Occasionally there's that one. I'm trying to see what else I have in here that I've recently do. I do the hands raised one a lot. Like, okay, like let's go. That's good. Like,
Oh wait, like where it's like two hands
two hands with like a bunch of like little arrows kind of like pointing at. It's
okay,
like,
so now I agree with you that that's like hands praise.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
boom. Now I've heard arguments though that some people think that's one half of like a two-handed high five.
Oh, I sort of love that too, though.
Yeah,
I've
it's like,
I've
boom.
never read it that way, but now that I see it, I can't unsee it.
I agree. I don't think that is the. I think it is so overwhelmingly used as like hands praise, like yes, well done,
right.
You know,
Yes,
you
yeah.
did it, kind
Right.
of thing. But I'm like, but like I look at it sometimes, and I'm like if you look at the one directly beneath it, It is just hands clapping, and it uses the same little triangle sounds
Okay,
to convey that it's like clapping and specifically probably not praying, right? Because if you just saw those two hands together without the lines, it would look like praying, but with the triangles, it looks like clapping.
I feel like there is a prayer hands one anyway, though, with little blue cuffs.
Oh, is there?
Yeah. So I would say that
You're right.
I think the other one is active. Is
Well,
active
it's definitely
clapping.
but would it still be clapping without the triangles?
Would it still be clapping without the triangles? Let's see here. I want to look at it
if
again.
that's true, does it make the triangles in praise hands clapping?
Almost clapping.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. Somehow I still feel like they're being used mildly differently. But I feel like if you don't have the little triangles for the clapping one, then you almost can't even tell that it's two hands. Like it's almost like the little clap symbols.
Yeah.
Like help you to realize like, oh, that's two hands versus just like one hand, sort of at like a weird sideways angle.
Boy, this is me discovering a brand new emoji right now.
Can I see it?
I just sent it to you.
Oh, you sent it to me. Okay.
It is like robotic arm.
Oh yes, no, I love this one. I think this is a great one.
Yeah,
like a little yeah. No, that's a great one.
Yep, that's good.
So what is your most commonly used emoji?
I wish it was sorted by that. Like it was sorted by most commonly used and not like ones you just used most recently.
I feel like my leftmost row is most commonly used, and then like it also mixes like some other ones in there that are sort of like, yeah, you use these one time.
Yeah. I think, yeah, okay. Well, my most frequently used one, at least in the top left, is laughing, crying emoji.
Okay.
And then the one after that, and this one I know I use all the time, is like nervous laughter, where it's like guy laughing, but he's got like the sweat bead coming down.
Yeah.
I do nervous laughter a lot, like, it's hilarious, right? Whoopsie.
Right.
And then I've just got popcorn bucket, which is weirdly listed twice under frequently used.
Oh,
I've got popcorn bucket on the first row and the third row, even though I don't, like, honestly, I don't think I use popcorn bucket that much, despite being on a show right now called Popcorn Culture.
Yeah, you'd think it would be like way more often brought up. That's so interesting. Yeah, the other one I really like is the star eye emoji. I feel like that one's.
Yes.
I sort of caught that one from you.
Yeah.
I feel like you were using it for a little while.
I use star eyes a lot. I use like gasping, like I kind of like the Home Alone sort of look, where he's got like the two hands on the face, but like the white pupils with like the blue face.
That one is. I think that one's versatile.
That one,
Yeah.
I think that's what I like about that, because it can mean either like bad thing happened or like, oh my god, that's so amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Like I feel like I've sent you good news and you've sent that back to me before, and it's like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like it's like wow, I can't believe.
Right, like I think you've sent me like oh, look at this rare Pokemon card I pulled, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
You almost did the exact face.
Yeah.
Wow, what a good funny face to put out on the internet.
Wow. Thank
Yeah.
you. You know, I'm working on my brand.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm totally getting that.
Thank you. Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, that's super funny. But I do feel like there's something to be said, like the like emoji. So going back to like the raised hands, this is one of those where I feel like you can almost dilute the meaning of one of these like little ways of communicating very quickly, like, because thumbs up to me is basically just like, okay, thank you for letting me know. Like that is the equivalent of like sending like an email that just says like received, thank you.
The thing is, I feel like thumbs up must be taking a real dive in usage, because you can just like respond with a thumbs up.
Oh,
you know,
true.
like you
Yeah.
just thumbs up someone's text rather than having to send the thumbs up.
Yeah, like the press and hold thing.
Yeah.
Which I use that constantly.
Me too.
Yeah.
I think especially for either. It's like the thumbs up is great for understood. It's like instead of responding with a K.
Right. Yeah. Oh gosh, K. Oh, man, if there was anything back in the day that would signal faster that this person is upset with me, it's K.
No, but see, I think that's the problem, is that like K has so many. It's like it could mean upset, or it could just mean like acknowledged.
Yeah, I don't know. This was in like early instant messaging days or texting days or something. Like if you say like "Hey!" exclamation point, they would write back like
instant messaging, different than texting.
I mean, I guess that's. And
instant messaging, you have access to the entire keyboard. You know, it's
Right,
not like,
right.
I mean, you do texting as well,
Right.
But like. You're like sitting. Instant messaging was you sitting at a computer with the intent of having a conversation. So to send a single letter back would be like, wow, didn't have time to even make another keystroke.
No, you can't even
Whereas
do KK.
Like, yeah, yeah.
KK.
Yeah, but then like texting, you know, it's just like, you know, maybe you're just exchanging, you know, logistics anyway.
Yeah, still, I would find it to be I find it to be passive aggressive. This is one of those like, and I can't tell if it's like a microgeneration difference or if like as time goes on. But I remember when text-based communication started to become extremely prominent, there was like this big sentiment that would go around, which was, and I mean, like I know that this is true on some level, but it's like people can't tell emotion as well through texting, and I would argue that there is a skill to injecting emotion through texting. And I don't think that everybody is equally good at it. So it's like, it still remains true that, like some information is lost in text-based communication.
Right.
But I also feel like if you communicate with me, I don't think as much is lost in text-based communication.
Like you try and load up a lot of emotion into your words.
I try to include emotion in like every single text that I send.
Yeah.
But sometimes I also think that it, you point this out a lot with me, where if you talk to me, I include a lot of words.
Yeah,
like
true.
Yes, like it's like everything is very ridiculous. Or I will include all the like the little modifiers, like, hey, we're going at this time if you'd like to join, but no problem if not, no pressure whatsoever. Like, you know, like
right,
I'm really big on sort of like adding way too much.
Ben loves words like essentially or basically or simply or
yes.
All
I do.
Yeah.
But like they do. In my mind, I find them to be essential. Like
right,
I think that they are actually adding to the layers of meaning that I'm able to then communicate just to some other person. Like it's by having all of these like inclusions, I feel like it also makes it so that like when I don't use them, it's like maybe like that much more impactful or whatever the case may be. But it may also be the case that it's just like the thumbs up emoji, where it's like maybe at some point in time it can lessen the value if you do it like too often. You know, I always found this to be the case in early relationships as well, like where you would first communicate to somebody that you like liked them, and it was like the greatest feeling ever. Like when somebody was like, I like you, you know, it was sort of like, oh, no way. Like now it's like that made me feel so special, and now there's nothing I can do but you know, like I want to tell you so often that I like you because I want to be able to like continuously give you that sensation.
Right.
But then it was also like, but if you say it like every single day, like every other sentence, it's like, well, at some point in time it's just sort of like, I know.
I got it.
But that's the thing. It's like that first time you hear it, it's like, it's so good.
Right.
That then you want it to continue to be good forever and ever and ever and ever and ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is hard to recreate. You
there's no doubt.
You gotta store it away and pull it out on occasion.
Right. Yeah. Your whole relationship can't just be based on we like each other, because that only gets you so far.
Right. Right. Yes. But I do think some of my like, you know, going back to like middle school, and I would even say this possibly could have been before I really started to use like AOL Instant Messenger back in the day, but like when I would email.
Yeah.
And, you know, I do think at some point in time, like, you know, you'd sit next to somebody in class or whatever, you'd strike up a rapport with them. All of a sudden you were like maybe potentially interested in each other in a very middle school kind of way. And then I feel like all of the emails would just slowly descend into just describing how much we liked each other, which was like, it was like, well, now we're not really like the thing that we originally liked about each other. We've left that far behind.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Now we're not even having the witty banter that we once had. Now we're just like reinforcing this, and it's like it's a slow slide down a hill to where it's like, well, now there's not really anything. Now we don't ever talk anymore.
Right. It's like before you were friends, and because you were friends, you started to like each other. But then once you started dating, like the only thing that defined your relationship was the fact that you were in a relationship.
Yeah. So then you start this like compliment volley back and forth, and it's just sort of like, okay, then we have
and
to
then at the end you're like, what happened? What went wrong?
I know. Yeah. It's like you stop talking to each other.
Exactly. I've had. Yeah. I mean, I was so victim to this.
Yes.
All the time.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was such a thing. So it's like one of the, and it's tricky too, because it does, I mean, like, especially early on, especially if you're surprised that the person like is reciprocating those feelings back at you. It's like, I mean, it's so powerful. But then, you know, eventually it's not. Gotta be cautious.
Indeed. Yes, you do. Yes,
anyway.
you do.
Okay. So, anyway, transition.
Ben, it says here that Alice gave you an early Christmas gift. It could die, which, God, I'm so hoping this isn't you telling me that, like, you guys are pregnant again or something.
Oh my gosh. No. Oh my gosh. That would be such a way of delivering that news.
Like, why would you phrase it like that?
Clickbait.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to clickbait my brother.
Yeah. Well, I brought it up. So
there you go. I know. So,
what living organism were you gifted?
No, well, and I had to write it this way because this is really the way that Alice
is it a battery?
Delivered it to me. Yeah, it's in a battery. It's like it could die.
So dramatic.
But then you could recharge it.
Yeah.
How fun. I know. Yeah. So let me tell you all about how I got a battery for Christmas. No. So it was just kind of funny because I got home from work last Friday and I walked in, and Alice typically is I would just say so preoccupied with all of daily life that most often it feels like it is like, you know, Christmas Eve, and she's like, okay, I really got to go like leave for a little bit so I can wrap your gifts. So what I'm trying to say in a nice way is that she waits till the last minute for the most part, which is totally fine because, you know, it's like at the end of the day, as long as it's ready by Christmas, you know, we're there.
Right,
we got this. We're good.
Exactly.
Although sometimes I do find it to be absolutely hilarious that we go to the lengths to have it be like Christmas Eve and we're doing all of this like concealment just quite literally so that it can be unconcealed like 12 hours later.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, man, we're literally going to be tearing this right back off in no time flat, but got to do it because it's so much fun.
Right. Tradition, my boy.
Yes, exactly. And quick name of the wind reference for the bingo cards. No, but
I know you got it.
Yes, I did. So getting home on Friday afternoon, though, I walk in the door, and on the kitchen counter is a quite a large box that has been wrapped. And I'm sort of like, you know, like I walk in, I greet Addie, and we're like just sort of chatting and sort of having like the typical like, you know, daily debrief, like how was your day and like all that type of stuff. You know, of course, like I love you more, I love you more, I love you so much more. No, I'm just kidding.
What a callback.
It was a callback. No, but so I'm like, weird question. What's up with the big box? And she's like, well, it's one of your Christmas gifts and it could die. And I was like, oh gosh. And so like quite literally the night before, our mom had just brought a puppy home from the SPCA where she works for a foster. Yeah. And so I'm literally like, you know, in my mind, I'm like, there's no way in the world that Alice would do that type of thing. But in my mind, I'm sort of like, we just went and spent time last night at mom's house playing with the new puppy. And now there's a gift on the table that's wrapped, that's kind of big, that could die.
Right.
So I'm like, Alice.
What are you like concerned that there's like a dog in the box wrapped that will remain there until Christmas?
I would say no, definitely not that. So like in my mind, I'm like, there is like a 1.3% chance that for some reason she thought it was a good idea to get a puppy without telling me. We already have 2 dogs. I'm not opposed to puppies. We have them already.
Right.
You know, we're covered in that department. And so I literally look at her. I'm like, it's not a puppy, right? Like you would like, it's not a puppy. Like, can we get that out of the way first? Because like, I need to know how long has it been wrapped? Which is not very long at all. And so anyway, I'm kind of like, okay, like what could be in here that could die, that to the point where like Allie must have received it in the mail today and wrapped it and was sort of like, okay, like we basically have to open it. Like we can't wait until Christmas.
Okay.
So
is it like a plant?
Well, so I get to open it up, and I'm cracking in, and in fact, what it is a sourdough starter, and it comes in this like massive oversized box, I guess, because of like all of like the packaging to like make sure that it's like nice and safe and everything, and it has a crock, which is like the container that you keep your sourdough starter in as well. Which maybe you have one because I know Beth did.
We did sourdough for a while. I think ours did die. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's been very, very interesting. So in the past couple of weeks, and actually for the past several months, I've been like pretty interested in trying to take some of my baking endeavors and cross over the threshold into bread.
Yeah.
Which, if I've learned anything from watching the Great British Baking Show, or the Great British Bake Off rather, it seems like bread can be rather finicky. Like when it's like bread week, it kind of seems like everybody's like a little bit on their toes.
It does seem like people are on their toes. It's always week 3. And I think it's the part of the reason people are so nervous on the Great British Bake Off is because like Paul Hollywood, the host, is like particularly famous for his bread.
His bread, yeah. So
like he's bread king.
He's bread king. Okay, yeah. The Jim Carrey of bread faces.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. You know.
For another callback. So But like anyway, it's been one of these things where I had found once upon a time like this like Dutch oven style way of cooking bread, and I was like, oh man, that'd be so cool. Like I'd love to have a Dutch oven, but they're like, you know, cast iron, ceramic lined pots and stuff like that, so they're kind of expensive. So Alice got me one for my birthday.
Yeah.
And I basically have not really had like a true opportunity to use it yet. But just in the past several weeks, Addie has been super into having toast for breakfast, and so Alice is like, man, we should really try to make some bread. And I was like, well, like I know my mom makes English muffin bread all the time. Super easy, super simple. Like I think it's like just a handful of ingredients. You don't have to do like a massive like proofing time or anything.
Right.
You know, it's like feels like basically just put the ingredients together, put it in the oven, and you've got like a loaf of
bread.
a completely edible loaf of bread.
Right.
So I did that, made my first couple of loaves, of which I basically had made my first slice, and I was like, oh, you know, I need to go hop in the shower in the morning. So like I like cut one. I was like, Allie, I'm gonna go run up and shower. Would you be able to like just like make me some like toast before I leave for like work this morning or whatever? Yeah. And in the time that I go upstairs to shower and come back down, Indy had jumped up on the counter and ate the entire loaf of bread.
No.
Yeah, the whole loaf, the entire thing, yeah, all of it, the whole thing. So it was like it was such a bummer because I was like, oh man, like my first loaf of bread, like my dog just ate the whole thing. To bring it back to puppies, in fact, even how about
there
that?
You go. Yeah,
full circle. So anyway, it's been kind of like one of those things. So, but yeah, so I got the sourdough starter, and now I'm super jazzed because I'm learning so much about like the science that goes into like keeping these things alive, and they're really interesting because I guess the point of sourdough is it's supposed to provide you the ability to make bread without the need for yeast. Is sort of like I think the general idea.
Okay.
And so probably dating back like through history, I suspect owning a starter was probably like a fairly like useful household object or giftable thing to have like amidst the family.
Sure.
Because it provided you the ability to continuously make bread. What I had no idea about was that like you have to feed this thing like a lot,
yeah,
you know, like with some frequency. So it's like it's been so interesting over the past several days because me and Allie are like, all right, so we got Addie down for a nap. Should we go feed the bread? It's
yeah,
like,
right. Yeah, we got to do that now too.
Like it's like this weird like goopy mass, and you have to like add like equal parts of like water and like flour to it, and then like separate off like this much so it can like eat the new flour or whatever. And it's just been endlessly fascinating. And so I'm hoping that in the next like week or so I'll be able to make my first ever sourdough bread.
So you haven't actually made any sourdough yet?
I haven't done it yet.
Okay,
but it's en route.
Okay.
Like to the point where I was like, oh man, it'd be so cool if I could like gift people sourdoughs. But I'm like, that's probably too ambitious. Like considering I've got like 6 days
to get going. I know, because Beth was making it for a while, and it was unlike the English muffin bread, more of like almost like a full day endeavor or something to like proof it and let it out in this particular temperature, and then score it, and then cook it. And you need the Dutch oven or whatever. And so I remember all that stuff. But.
So we're hoping for bread soon. So I'll be sure to keep you posted on how that's going.
Well,
if anybody has any pro tips for me though, I'm all ears because
it's like because I remember Beth doing it, it was like a little more complicated than you'd think. For like bread, it's like flour, water, salt, right? Go.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
bread.
there you go. Bread.
Edible flour.
Edible flour, you can do it. But and then every video in the world you look up that is like, how to make sourdough, they are always like, it's the easiest thing in the world.
Right.
It's always like, it's just these 20 steps. And you're like, why are you calling it easy?
It's like, this is highly complicated.
Like a lot of measurements and things and stuff. And yeah.
Well, I'm learning. All right.
Yeah. I'm excited. I would, this is something I would love to be into sourdough.
I know. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those as well where I bought like a kitchen scale forever ago, just like a little digital, whatever. It's basically like a packing scale as well if you need it to be. But it's like literally just in the past like couple of months, I've started like weighing all my ingredients instead of like using like cups and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
And I do feel like there's been like a difference. And so I almost feel like I like graduated from some of like my baking endeavors into like this next stage where it's like, I'm a weigh the ingredients kind of guy all of a sudden.
Of course.
Yeah. So
we're baking very precise.
Very precise. There. Yeah. Which I actually quite like because I think sometimes like what we do here at work is so like non-precise.
Right.
Like everything that we do is sort of like it's all subject to interpretation. It's all just like freestyling and like whatever the case may be. So it's like sometimes you'd be like, oh my gosh, somebody has written out exact rules that I can follow, and all I have to do is just weigh 113 grams of flour and I'm in.
Right. It should come out the exact same every single time. Why wouldn't it?
Why wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably humidity or,
Stuff like that. Temperature in the tent or whatever.
Barometric pressure.
Right.
Almost. Probably. Maybe.
Definitely.
Yeah. Anyway. So, So anyway, I've got my first ever sourdough starter endeavoring. And we take the last week of the year off too. So I'm super excited because I'm like, I'm going to have a bread day.
Gonna sourdough it up.
The day of bread.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Do you have to like wait between bakes for it to like grow again?
Probably.
Or I don't know.
Haven't gone that far
about it.
Yeah. We're going to, it's like my own little like Tamagotchi, you know?
Yeah.
Except it's bread.
Yeah, except not nearly as important. You know?
It's kind of like an oozy goo.
An oozy goo.
Did you say not nearly as important?
Oh, well, yeah, no. I mean, it doesn't sound like you ever played Tamagotchi for real.
It's serious business.
Serious business, Ben.
Okay.
You ever been there for a battery change?
Goodness gracious. You gotta be like surgeon precise.
You gotta be like, someone's gotta hold down the copper wiring. No.
I was gonna say, you know a lot about this. I mean,
I'm just making stuff up. I didn't play that hard. I don't even think I could have told you that it was like I think we like lightly owned Tamagotchis, but I don't think I even understood like the point. It wasn't like, oh yeah, I got to constantly make sure I'm keeping this digital creature alive.
Yeah, no, I mean, basically, because that's exactly what it seems like it is. It's just essentially like it's like a timer that you need to be present for occasionally.
Right, and it's like eventually people who made apps were like, what if we did that, but like monetized it?
Right.
What if instead of having to wait 4 hours, you could pay us money and then do it in right now?
Do it in right now. I mean, I feel like this is like Farmville or Farmtown or any of those things.
All of those are just Tamagotchi.
Right. Yeah.
It's all Tamagotchi.
Right. They figured it out. They were the first, maybe.
Yeah.
I can't actually know that for sure. There could have been something before that.
Yeah.
Houseplants.
There it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Set a little egg timer to it every 4 hours. Come back and water it.
Come back. You water your houseplants every 4 hours?
No, I was just kidding. I was just Tamagotchiing it backwards.
Frequent.
I know. Yeah. Probably get some root rot at that point.
Yeah, I know. I've got some that are like don't only water like once a week.
Wow. Look at you reading the care instructions.
Well, it says like wait for it. This is the other thing. Whenever you start getting into plants, they'll be like, wait until the dirt is bone dry.
Bone dry.
But don't even think about adding water until it's bone dry. And I'm like, okay. It's like a little aggressive dryness there.
So do you carry a bone around your house and use that as like a touchstone?
Yeah, I've got the bone in one hand and I'm touching the dirt and I'm like,
these are similar drynesses.
We're there. It's the snake plant. That's the one that is like bone dry.
Okay.
Beforehand. And then I'm always, but otherwise I'm just sort of going by complete feel.
Okay.
And sometimes I'll like use a pitcher and sometimes I've got my little mister and I always feel like, wow, something very loud just happened outside.
It's like a flump.
Like a big, sound like a loud piece of metal hit the ground. Thump.
Hopefully everybody's okay.
Yeah. Anyway. That's all I'm keeping alive right now is a bunch of house plants.
I like it. So when you were talking about the dryness of the soil, my brain went to Mohs dryness scale. Like Mohs hardness scale is the real thing.
Not Mohs Southwest Grill.
No, not Mohs Southwest. Yeah, no. Like geological or like minerals and stuff like that.
MOHS.
Yeah. Like diamonds are like a 10 on the scale. Yeah. Which leads me nicely into my next transition.
Yeah. Oh, bring it on.
I know. Yeah, there we go. So okay. Over the weekend we had Alice's sister was in town and we sort of have like, the flurry at this time of year for different like holiday parties that we're like going to for like, different things and stuff.
Yeah.
And so as to not interfere with them having like their own Christmas at home because they're the only members of the family that are like out of town.
Yeah.
We had like a little white elephant gift exchange over the weekend. And amazingly, I can tie this back to Mohs hardness scale. Don't you worry.
Okay.
But my white elephant gift exchanges are kind of interesting for me because I do quite like gift giving. It's like historically been like one of my my love languages or whatever.
Absolutely.
I have fun with it. The white elephant gift exchange is the thing where everybody goes and buys a gift based on like a particular price point, and what you're attempting to do is just sort of like go through and open gifts in some type of order, and then there's sort of like the stealing process or like the like whatever. So
right. It
feels like sometimes inside of the white elephant gift exchange there can be like a most highly coveted gift
there for sure is. And so I think the real trick of white elephant is that like winning white elephant isn't receiving the most coveted gift, it's having brought the most coveted gift.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is the challenge for me because normally what I try to do when I'm gift giving is try to get inside the mind of the person that I'm buying for and try to find like that perfect like essence of like, oh, this is the right price range, the right quality, the thing they would never buy for themselves. Like you're really trying to like check all like those hard to check boxes. Right. But then when like it's almost the exact issue I had with Super Carlin Brothers in the beginning, which was like what I found very, very like difficult was having a conversation with the black eye of the camera,
Right.
Because it shows no emotion back to you,
Right.
And so when you're buying for like an entire group of people, it's extremely difficult to know like what the best thing is going to be. And so my first question is there anything inside of these gift exchanges? Do you have like a go-to, or is there a strategy, or is there anything that you like to do as part of the whimsy? Anything that you've seen as a particularly good gift?
I've seen a couple of things. So I think there is some strategy to be had, like because you're right. Like there is inevitably in large white elephant groups, there's like people who are just sort of like at the party, like, you know, they're doing the white elephant thing because that's part of being at the party, but they don't really want to be a part of it.
Sure.
I find this tends to apply to a lot of like older dads or something.
Sure.
You know,
Okay,
they're just like, I did a thing.
Like they bought the Bluetooth speaker.
Right, yeah, they got the Bluetooth speaker or something like that.
It feels like a classic.
So you can like, the one thing you can do in these situations is appease that crowd, give them something to be excited about.
Sure.
So you're not buying for the whole group, but you're buying for a certain audience that will make them feel more included or give them something. So in which case that can just be like almost any bottle of alcohol.
Oh,
You know.
sure. Yeah, like a I got you.
Yeah,
like a bottle of bourbon.
Like a bottle of bourbon. Very good white elephant gift.
It is.
And or wine is just a very easy go-to that no one, because this is the other thing. Like whenever I go into white elephant, I want to make sure that like you want to bring something that no one will be upset if they're landed with.
That's also
You know?
true, yeah. And the ultimate answer for that one in my mind is like a Yeti mug, you know, which is
Yeti
something
mug,
that
not bad.
that Alice
Very
got
good.
and during this gift exchange over the weekend.
Right.
And me and her both, like, we're driving home, we're just like looking at the Yeti mug and we're like, I love these.
Yeah, Yeti mug, very good. Doesn't feel necessarily like oh, everyone was hunting after the Yeti mug.
But it does absolutely fill the void where whoever gets it there's no
Exactly.
way in the world they're going to be
Yes,
bummed.
it's
yeah.
like it is certainly a stealable item because if you don't have one, you might want it.
Yeah.
And you're very likely otherwise to end up with something else. But like, yeah, I think wine is a very good one. Like, ooh, yeah, you're not gonna no one's gonna be like sad they went home with a bottle of wine.
Right.
You know?
So the other one that I won actually during this gift exchange that I have seen in the past, but I also think is a great white elephant exchanger is the scratcher like lotto ticket cards.
Lotto tickets.
Because
Yeah.
they always sort of have that like you know there's usually a price limit, and so like you know what we were doing for this past weekend I think was like 40 to 50 or something like that. So you know you end up with like 40 some odd dollars worth of scratcher tickets, which you know is like that's like 20 minutes of fun.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like going
And
and
it's
sitting
like-
down, and there's the
yeah.
opportunity to potentially like you know exceed the value by winnings.
Scratcher tickets are such a great gift to give somebody else because like you sort of know intrinsically that like it's a bad investment to go buy scratcher tickets.
Yes. Like the house will always win.
The house will always win, but to just receive them as a bonus, it's like even if you only win $5, like that great.
Yeah, I
You
know, exactly. Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like and like winning the $5 from a scratcher ticket is so much better than having someone just hand you a $5 bill.
Precisely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like,
So,
oh, I did it.
So
Yeah.
if I win $5 from my like 45, you know, scratcher tickets or whatever, then it'll still be much more joyous than if somebody had literally put $5 in an envelope for this game.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Don't do that. Cash.
Yeah.
Terrible white elephant gift.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
That being said, I did one of mine. So I felt like I had one good one and one phoned it in, which was like a gift card, just like you know your classic,
the
like
gift
Starbucks
card.
gift card or something. Yeah, it's sort of like
yeah. It's like no one's gonna be. Starbucks is probably good. Yeah, that's not bad. No one's gonna be upset they went home with the Starbucks gift card. There's always a few gift cards in a white elephant exchange.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that. So this. I picked this up because I happened to win this at a white elephant. And I thought this was like moving forward. I feel like this is just what I'm gonna bring because I think it's so fun.
Okay.
Is whenever you see the like giant candy bars.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
not like
yeah.
king size, but like comically like yard sized candy bars.
Okay.
Or like sometimes it's not like, you know, oh, this Kit Kat isn't 3 feet long. It's just 3 feet worth of Kit Kat or something. You know?
Sure,
It's
sure.
like huge amount, just like a huge thing. I think that's so fun because one, it's big, which means it's likely to be picked up early. And two, it's exactly the sort of thing that's like, no one's going to be upset if you go home with a bunch of candy.
Right, true.
2, it's like it's comically large. It's not something you'd ever buy for yourself, but you'd be happy to get. And it feels like if it's the right kind of candy bar, people might steal it around some. But
Yeah.
I don't know if that's necessarily like the big winner, but it will be unique. I think it's not always going to be there.
Yeah, like what wraps well, I think is always very interesting because like typically, so you've all drawn your numbers, you all go around the room or whatever, and you're going, like the first person needs to go up and select like an object from under the tree. And so one of the things I have done in the past before was get like a jumbo pack of like premium toilet paper.
Toilet paper is a good one because it's so big when wrapped.
It's so big when wrapped, yeah. So it's like that's always really funny because somebody's like, I'm gonna go with the big one, and it's like, what could? And this is like, I think this is something that never expires from somebody's mind is that there's something tantalizing about a big gift.
There is,
but like at the same rate, it's like I can't really think of anything that I would desperately want in this price range that would come in a box that big.
Right.
It's like, what could it be?
Yeah.
That would actually be.
You could do the thing where it's just like, because it's white elephant, like you use big box for small item.
You could do that, which actually ties in very nicely to this year's the one that I was somewhat proud of, maybe, I don't know, but I thought it was kind of interesting, and mostly I really wanted to see it myself, and we just talked about it on the pop a couple of weeks ago, which is one of the gifts that I got. So I had the gift card on the one hand, and then the other was one of those tungsten cubes I was telling you about.
Yeah,
but it was this is the I forget what the exact mathematical term is, maybe a square cube ratio or something like that. But so tungsten, I talked about on the pop a few weeks ago, is a highly dense material or metal, and its hardness is, I think, like second only to diamond or something like that. So it's kind of like a really unique metal that I personally like. There's a part of me that legitimately thinks that there's like the possibility that you could like be buying gold right now, like like for whimsy, but like at some point in time in the future, it's such a useful metal that there's like a part of me that's like, I almost just want to like potentially invest
in it,
in some tungsten. So yeah, the 4-inch cube of tungsten, pure tungsten, weighs, I think, like 42 pounds or something like that.
Right, yeah,
but like it's
way heavier than you'd expect for such a small thing.
Exactly. So it's so highly unusual to see somebody like handle one, because it like breaks your brain based on how much something that size is even capable of weighing.
Right.
So I ordered like the little one, which it slightly broke the price. I think it was like $55. So I went a little bit over, but I so badly wanted to do it. I was like, I'm okay with it.
I'm doing it.
But then it was really fun because then I could decide whether or not I wanted to wrap it in like a really, really small box, to the point where like people were actively handling the entire appeal of this object the whole time that like it's being passed around. Like I said, I've done toilet paper, which comes in a big box, and then this is almost more like in like a ring box. It's real small.
Right.
Then you pick it up and you're like, why is it this heavy? This is disproportionate. This is kind of odd. So that's what I did over the weekend, and I don't know that it was like the highly prized one or anything like that, but it was still really fun to watch the person unbox it, and then everybody be like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And like, got like passed around and everybody's like hefting it. And it's like, it is so unusual. And I actually remember, so throwback to Carp Girl.
Right, yes.
When I was at physics camp when I was a little kid, it was the first time I ever experienced this sensation. But the teacher that I was working with had a vial of pure mercury.
Right.
And mercury is also famously highly dense. And so it was like sealed in some type of protective case. So it wasn't handling just like raw mercury, which would of course not be safe. But so he passes it around the room, and it's 2 pounds of mercury in like this like little unusual shaped vial thing.
Right. And it's like, it's weirdly heavy.
Yes, it is weirdly heavy. So like my whole life, it was always like, well, I can't go buy mercury. But when I found out about tungsten, I was like, but I can buy tungsten. And so I did. And so I got to hold one over the weekend. And it was such a delightful experience.
Nice.
It is so odd how cool it is.
That's so fun. I'm glad you had a blast with your tiny little cube of tungsten.
I know. And then it went to, so my sister-in-law is a homeschool teacher. And she was like, we're literally doing the periodic table right now. She was like, this is so perfect. Like, because her kids will just think it's like endlessly amazing.
Yeah,
so
right, for sure.
It ended up being really fun. So
nice.
that was my pro tip. It slightly probably breaks most white elephant budgets, but, and I know that by the time this comes out, we'll be very, very close to the actual holiday itself. But if you're on the hunt for something, I feel like it's a good one for future use.
A tungsten.
tungsten.
There you go.
A small brick of tungsten.
Yeah, that sounds like a very fun little thing. I think getting one of the big cubes sounds pretty fun too. Just like a little party trick.
Man, I am like that one becomes very expensive just because of like how much material you're actively buying. So if you can imagine, like that's like how many cubes fit into a 4-inch cube,
Yeah.
But the multiplier ends up being quite a lot. But I don't know. Yeah, it's like it would be so neat, if even if you had like a dinner party or something like that, like there's the ability to come out and like have a nice bottle of wine or something like that, or have like cooked a nice dish or whatever. But like, to like walk in with like the briefcase and set it on the table and be like, check this out.
Boom. Yeah.
I have an oddly heavy thing.
This is an oddly heavy thing. This sounds like exactly, I remember like in like growing up, I always liked to have like a I think we talked about this before, like I had a drawer in my room just full of like little trinkets like this that were just sort of like odd little different toys that did funny things.
Yes.
And this sounds like exactly the sort of thing that would have been up my alley.
Right.
Or still would be.
Would be. Yeah. I mean, this was, I feel like I did the same thing with my backpack at school. I think once upon a time I talked about how I had this like large golden key, which I called the key to the Odyssey.
Oh, yes, I do remember. Yeah.
And I like every once in a while I would just like go into my backpack and like pull it out, and like all the kids in class would be like, whoa, a big golden key. That's so
that
cool.
Open?
I know. And it opened
like
nothing.
Treasure.
But,
treasure, obviously.
It was like $12. But
I own treasure. Yeah.
I own treasure. That's what I'm trying to, I want you to be like, Ben, that guy, like unlike his older brother who we've met before, famous for his funny faces.
Yeah.
This guy, treasure.
Right. I'm trying to incite a hunt.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I like to be heavily associated with that. So talk about dream jobs though.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, this will occur to me where I'm like, best case scenario, and we've already talked about this, I'm sure, but would just be a world where I am a master certified scuba diver, and I basically spend all day, every day out in different oceans in a kind of like cool live-in boat type situation.
Sure.
It doesn't have to be a yacht, but like something that probably has like a hammock strung up somewhere. So you could like, after like a long day of, like spearfishing / treasure hunting, you could like, just go and like hang out in your hammock thing and like watch the sunset over the ocean, because it's
sounds pretty good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But then that's just what I do. I'm just a treasure.
Just look for treasure.
I just look for treasure all the time, and maybe find some occasionally.
That's the thing. I know. It's like, that's sort of the weird thing about treasure hunting, is that it's like, where would you even start? Like, is there treasure to even be found? Like, whenever you read the stories, it's always like, oh yeah, there's the legendary lost treasure of Silverman beard dude guy or whatever.
Oh yeah. Man.
And that was
Silverman.
such a bad made-up pirate name.
No, I loved it.
Okay.
If anything, I think we should adopt it for a character in one of our future, for a 27 Butts production.
Yeah. Or like, I think we just watched like OBX and everyone's like, oh yeah, everyone knows there was a giant treasure on board that ship that, no one's ever been able to find it, but it was out there. We'll probably get it on like our first try or something.
If there was such well-known treasure in any amount of like local lore, like I probably would do nothing in my free time except for look for it.
I know. Like there's no like well-known local lore about like the lost treasure of Roanoke or something.
I know.
Like people are always like, there's like the lost colony of Roanoke. It's like different Roanoke. Guys.
Different
people
Roanoke.
Okay, come on.
Yeah, we don't live in that one.
We're looking for the lost treasure of Roanoke, Virginia.
Precisely.
Where we could go, we got to go, that'd be a great thing to go look for. In the meantime, like things like geocaching exist, but that to me is like not nearly. It's like for some reason that doesn't tickle the same nerve or something,
I know. I remember Alice like sort of like told me right when we first started talking that she quite liked doing some like geocache type things, and we actually went and like did like a little hunt one day for like a park we used to go and spend some time at. We were like, oh my gosh, they're like, we walked by this like a million times, and like it turns out there was like a false screw that was actually like a little tube stuck into a thing, and it actually was really neat. I was like, man, that's so cool. But I do think what, like, if I got heavily involved in geocaching, I feel like what I would have the most fun doing is hiding and stashing the things. But I would be like, I'm including some treasure. Like, if you found me, then you deserve some treasure.
Right.
Like,
that's what you need. That's what would be great to find. It's like, yeah, you found clue number 1, and from here, you're gonna have to solve some puzzles. And this is like, I think, we've talked about this before. Like, it'd be so fun if you just like set up a bunch of like if we had hidden treasure somewhere that could be found based on some sort of puzzle.
Oh man,
Yeah, I
that seems like a really interesting ambition for 2024 popcorn culture. Would be like, all right. Now, nobody take this. This is not us tipping the hat that this has happened or anything like that.
This isn't the numbers.
This isn't the numbers. This is not like a secret code, but it does feel like the kind of thing that would be so much fun. Would just be like, I mean, could you imagine, especially if we took a plane to travel somewhere to find like a vacant field, and we like went and found the coordinates in the middle of that field and just like buried something. You know,
exactly, Ben.
Yeah. So it's like we're just randomly, and this is definitely not where it will be. Just for clarity, we're just randomly in a field in Utah.
Exactly.
You know, and it's like why'd you guys travel to Utah? No reason.
But see, that'd be the thing. You couldn't even tell people you went to Utah.
You couldn't.
You know,
No.
because they'd be like, I remember they took a trip to Utah, but this is what they were setting up.
Which is why it's definitely not Utah.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah. See, now
people are like, wait a minute.
It's like we've doubled down so hard that at this point in time, it could be Utah.
I know. People are like, they keep saying it's not, but it's like, time to go dig up a whole state. Or is it?
Or
isn't it?
I know.
No, it's really not. It's really super not.
But like, would there be anything that would bother you? Because like, I feel like I would want to include like my phone number or something in there. But like, if you found this, please call me to like let me know that like it's been found.
Yeah.
Because could you imagine if you made it like 27 years from now, just to use like a random arbitrary number, because I'm messing with people at the moment. Yeah, 27. Why would that number be relative?
Yeah.
You know, but like if 27 years from now somebody called me out of the blue and they were like, and I had forgotten or something, and they're like, hey, I'm standing in a field in Utah. This is kind of odd, but I just found your treasure. Like, no way.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you could include some like contact information or something in there. Or this is something else I've seen that people have done. There are people who have like set up things like this before.
Yeah.
And one thing you can do is like put like a GPS tracker like hidden somewhere in the treasure.
Okay.
Such that when it is found, you'll be able to like, you know, hunt down whoever found it and be like, I just wanted to see who won it. Thanks for playing my game or whatever. Or
right.
like, you know, how did you come across it or tell me your story or whatever. So like I saw one guy, it was on TikTok. He was making some sort of like fun little treasure thing. And what he did was he had like a piece of pepperoni pizza and he put a little GPS tracker under a pepperoni, and then he put the entire piece of pizza in like a block of resin and put that in the treasure so that like even if you found it, you wouldn't notice that there was a GPS tracker under the pepperoni.
Oh my gosh.
You know,
that's so fascinating.
I know.
But
this was the way he was
idea.
going to like be able to know whether or not it had been found at some point.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so how did it ever do we know?
I don't know. This was the setup. I saw him like loading the treasure box up, and then there was like I think there's some like, you know, mystery stuff in there. But then I think he started it by throwing like just like a, you know, a bottle in the ocean or something, and it was like, there you go.
Whoa.
Someday, maybe. I don't know.
That is so fascinating.
I know.
What a great way to do it. Although it's also one of those things where it's like, it would be, I mean, like the idea of finding a message in a bottle probably was so much more appealing when there wasn't so much like litter in the ocean otherwise.
Yeah.
To where it's like, that's a great idea. You know what I mean? There would be nothing cooler than discovering a bottle, but like there's a very real possibility that even if I were like walking along the beach and it rolled up next to me, I'd be like, I should probably throw this away. Good Samaritan.
Yeah. You wouldn't notice the message inside?
I mean, you probably would. I mean, like to be honest, if I picked it up, but like I'm also imagining like these big sea collectors or whatever out there, you know, like collecting up all the garbage and just like garbling it into like, you know, former waste stew.
Right.
Yeah. This is always like one of these like bizarre. I don't know. Fantasy is definitely not the right word because that would assume like such a colorful and fun version of this. But I have always wondered if the day would ever come where like, you know, how we like the same way we like harvest oil or something like that.
Yeah.
I think there's like Trash Island out at sea, but like it would be so like interesting doesn't even feel like the right word because it feels like concern is mostly the underlying sentiment. But like if the day would ever come where like for some reason people are like, oh yeah, we got to go and like harvest this like unrenewable resource, which is all of the trash that is accumulated in this part of the world, and like we almost started to like recollect all of this like waste that has otherwise just like found its way to like the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
You know, it became like a harvestable resource.
Well, I think,
sorts.
I mean, people do harvest that for like recycling purposes.
Yes, of course they do. Yeah. But like, but if it became like super important, like in the same way that oil is important to like our society and world and how we drive our cars and stuff like that.
So, I mean, it's probably important in, at least in a manner of like
responsibility.
Yes. And like,
should we be doing this? Yes, we should absolutely be doing it. But
like if you like, what are the like if it just grows so massive, then like what is it? What are the ramifications for quality of life on the planet or something?
Right, but like if this would be like in the overall narrative of like humankind is if like we had made it so far that at some point in time we became like unexpectedly dependent on like our own former problem. Independent probably is again the wrong word, but like if we had made it so far that something that was previously was a problem became a solution.
Yeah.
At the very least, that would be like they'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
We've made such strides.
Yeah. That sounds very humanity. Like, oh, this is a problem, but we can use it somehow.
How to make your problems your solutions.
How to make your problems your solutions.
Yeah. So maybe my real eventual treasure hunting will be going and harvesting garbage from the ocean.
Yeah. This is another plug for also the book Project Hail Mary, which if you haven't read, you should.
Oh yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah, no doubt. Anyway,
okay.
No spoilers or anything.
We got one last transition left in us?
Sure.
I like to make my own sound effects sometimes.
Yeah, even though we play music there.
We do.
So
Yeah.
I like to think, I don't know, but I like to think that Isybelle leaves in your sound effect as well.
Oh yeah, I don't know either.
For sure.
We'll have to ask her.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, Jay, you have a note written in here about a new game that is apparently sweeping your home every evening called Gears.
Gears.
Did you invent said game or
I didn't invent said game. No, this is definitely a creation of my son's.
Oh, okay.
For sure.
So it came from your household at least. Like
came from my household.
You can't go to like Amazon.com and purchase the board game Gears.
But I guarantee you probably already own all the necessary requirements, provided that you have children in the 3 to 6 year old range.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting because so many products like this have an age range that they are like appropriate for, or like a minimum threshold, like for ages like 6 and up.
Yeah,
and this is like this game is appropriate for people who have kids aged 3 to 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's just like the way this game has come about is like it's so funny to me because like literally every day at some point they will come running up to me and be like, "Can we play Gears? Let's go play!" And like as soon as one person says it, all of them are just like, Gears, let's go play Gears!" Like. It's like they are so excited, and it's like I really can't say no because they're like all so united, and they do have an absolute blast playing it. But to tell you even what the rules were, I don't even know what the rules are. Even how we landed on the name Gears, I have no idea.
Well, it's a great name for a game.
It's a great name, yeah. If you're thinking it has something to do with like cogs and simple machines and stuff like that, though, you'd be way off.
Man, okay.
Yeah,
that was exactly what I was picturing. I literally just assumed that you guys were like building your very own like Willy Wonka style factory in your home and manufacturing chocolate in mass.
Like once upon a time, Luke Kid, he had some game he wanted to play called like Pipes or something, and he came over and he's like, you guys are going to be the pipes and you're going to be like the water and you're going to be like the cannonball or something. And I don't know what he was planning for what his brain was, but eventually it turned into Gears.
Okay.
That was like the evolution of it.
I'm not going to lie. Pipes also sounds like a great name for a game. So maybe Lukester has a future in game design.
There's no doubt. He's very inventive. He makes lots of inventions, which often mostly just means he found the Scotch tape. And guess what? Now there's a bunch of stuff that didn't used to be stuck together, but now it is. Look at my invention. And I'm like, what's it doing? And he's like, he'll like come show me all the things, and I'll ask him what it does. Like, what's the purpose of your invention? And it seems like he'll also be inventing what it does as he, goes through it. And it'll often involve, space travel and lasers and all sorts of things. But
those are all,
very creative.
Excellent aspects of inventions.
Yeah, no doubt. There is an element of pipes in this game as well.
Okay.
Not pipes you travel through, mind you, or anything like that.
What kind of pipes?
Like, they're kind of like the characters.
The pipes of the characters.
It doesn't make sense to me either, man.
Okay.
The game of Gears is this.
Okay, lay it on me.
In a nutshell, is we have an ottoman and we have our big couch. And the game of Gears works like this. The kids get in a line on the ottoman, and what they want me to do is pick them up and throw them onto the couch.
Okay.
Right. That's basically it. I don't know why they call it Gears, but every single day they will insist upon this. And so for the first few nights, that's basically what it was. They sort of go through in the line, and I had like 3 different spots on the couch where I could throw them. And, so I'd throw one over in this corner, and they would, land, and they think it's hilarious. And I'd throw one over here, and they kind of get back in line. Over the days, though, it's evolved a little bit more, where now in addition to being thrown in the air, now they have different like moves that they want performed as part of the throwing.
Okay.
Either they want to be like spun and thrown, or they want to do like a belly flop, or they want like an ultimate gear, or something.
Okay.
Ultimate Gear is when you raise them up to the ceiling and then basically just drop them onto the couch.
Ooh.
Yeah, something like that.
That's like,
In case you're wondering.
Yeah, it's like an Olympic level
sometimes
maneuver.
they want to do sometimes they want to do upside down, which means they want me to flip them as I do it or something like that. And then there's the element of like the chasing that's started to crop up around it.
Oh, so
they're like, now I have to like go get them before I throw them on the couch. Like they want to like run away from me.
They can't play Gears without you.
They can't play Gears without me. I am essential because the throwing of the kids onto the couch is the main component to the game.
I got you. I got you. So is it at all possible they have just like conned you into like interacting with them in this manner by giving it a name?
I mean, this is not even like conning. It's just funny to me that like it's not just like throw us on the couch. It's like let's play Gears. Like they've gamified it. I think is the funny part.
So are there points?
There's no points. Yeah.
Do they ever say like, "Oh, good one"?
Oh, I mean, they definitely like certain things. Sometimes they will get very upset if you didn't perform the kind of like throwing maneuver they wanted. Like I wanted to be spinned, or sometimes they'll be like, I want 5 seconds, which is like we gotta like slowly throw them or like spin them for a certain amount of time. There's all sorts of
Jay, I feel like you
mechanics.
could possibly just give up on your gym membership because it sounds to me like you were doing like.
I mean, I like legit start sweating playing this game with them.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Fucking children around. And then so the
Huck a kid.
The new part of it is they want me to like chase them, like you have to like go get them, like as if they don't want to be thrown on the couch, which is like the oxymoronic part of the game, because that's all they want is to be thrown.
It's to be thrown, but then they want to run.
Yeah, they want to run, so they want you to chase them, but they very badly want to be caught.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah. There's that, but then once you're caught, they'll be like, "Guys, help me, or whatever." So like you'll be carrying Luke, and Nick and Nate will like jump on your legs, and you're like, now I can't walk, and it's like they're very bad at stopping me from getting back to the couch to throw them where they want to be thrown.
Right,
yeah.
right.
And so the other day, Luke informed me that the children are called pipes, so that's what I guess I'm throwing pipes. I'm not sure why they're called pipes in the game of Gears, but that's how it's
in the game of Gears.
In the game of Gears, they are the pipes, and so I've been getting a little bit of extra workout every day and playing Gears.
Nice.
Chasing the children down, throwing them on the couch.
Well, truly incredible.
Super fun.
It does sound. I mean, it sounds,
only ends one way though, Ben. I can tell you that for sure.
It feels like the kind of game where it's just like you're waiting for two skulls to collide.
You're waiting for someone to run into someone. You're waiting for someone to take a rogue bounce off the couch. You're waiting for someone to trip because they're only wearing one sock and they went around the corner in a weird way, or a lot of times they're like the hallways. They aren't like that wide or something. So if you like make a reach for them, they'll try and like dodge out of the way and like run into the wall,
Sure.
And then they trip, and then it's like, I don't know if I love the chasing part of it, because all you want me to do is throw you on the couch anyway. We're adding this whole extra element to it, guys. Like, but whatever, it's fine. They love it. That's Gears.
It sounds like it's so funny because it is like the epitome of the phrase "it's all fun and games until someone gets hurt." Like, it could not be more like on the nose.
I know, and it's like this is sort of like, but at the same rate, it's like the fact that it always ends with someone sort of like crying at some point. Like no one's ever getting like hurt or anything like that.
Sure.
And it's sort of like at the same rate, you know what? Everything they do ends this way. Everything ends in tears. It doesn't matter what game we're playing. We could be making a puzzle, and this is how it will end. So we may as well be getting some physical exercise out of it.
I suppose that's a very good point. That is a very good point. It also does feel, going back to like a lot of like our GMA adventures from like high school and stuff like that, I can't lie. It also kind of felt like this was sort of like the way that we would push boundaries.
Yeah.
Was that we were just like adult versions of your kids and just kind of doing similar stuff like off of a diving board or into a lake or off of a cliff or in a tunnel under the ground.
Yeah.
Which was like a big thing that we decided we really loved for a while. It was called tunneling.
Tunneling, yeah.
Where we would quite literally go and find underground tunnels and just like crawl through them.
But you're like, wait a minute, are these like readily available? And I'm like, yeah, where do you think all the rainwater goes when it rains?
Yeah, exactly.
Just follow the water. You think you're like, doesn't it smell bad down there? And I'm like, unbelievably bad.
He's like, did we do it anyway? Apparently, for some reason.
But we did.
For full disclaimer purposes, not recommended. And in fact, I would encourage you not to do it at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was something.
But we did, and it was awesome.
But we did do it, and it seemed like every time we did it, it was almost like, can we find a bigger one?
Find a bigger one,
a longer one.
Yeah.
Can we be under the city and find fish like swimming in pipes and such?
You sure can.
We did do that. They are there. There are fish in them, which is so unexpected.
It's a miracle no one got diseases walking around down there.
It is a miracle.
Yeah.
Or it was always also one of those things where it seemed like the further into it you got, the more likely it was that you were just going to like find somebody like camped out in there, which also was like one of those things like, why would anybody camp out in just complete and utter pitch darkness in a horrible smelling tube beneath the surface of the earth?
Like there's no one's down here.
Yeah. But it always felt like you might run into somebody.
It felt like you might run into somebody. It also felt like the further you went, like the more likely you were to get in trouble for some reason. Like the deeper you got in, like absolutely, like not like if we'd only gone in like 100 yards, it wouldn't have been that bad. But now that we're 300 yards in and they find us, like, guys, what were you doing this far in?
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like there was a stretch that we were all really excited about at one point in time that I feel like went like 2 miles or something like that, like way too long.
Way too long.
And I feel like we all had this ambition to bring a skateboard and ride the skateboard, like sit on the skateboard and like pull
like
yourself
Ninja Turtle
through.
style.
Ninja Turtle style, yeah. I mean, like, it could have been done.
It could have been done. I want to say that like our friend Mike did and managed to bring a skateboard because like in one particular tunnel it would have been helpful, but then the next one it was like there was like
in the way.
There was like a crack every every new tube presented a crack, so you actually couldn't like roll. You just kept running into the next tube.
We did, yeah.
But this was so because sometimes like these were like sometimes we would find these like tubes that would be more like for rainwater runoff like next to a road or something, but sometimes it would be like this is just a tube that goes from this side of a neighborhood to another side and they'd be like very short.
That's also true.
Like those would always be the ones where it was like, oh yeah, we know lots of little like secret passages through neighborhoods because we do cross country and we find all these like funny tunnels and stuff.
Because we were supposed to be running and what we were doing instead was being like, ooh, that's a hole in the ground, why don't I go investigate it?
Exactly. Let me go through this tunnel, we'll see where it goes. It'd be great, super fun.
In hindsight, it literally is almost just like leaving. Like if I, like frequently, you're like at home or if like I'm watching Addie by myself or something, like you might like set her down with like Frozen or something like that. And you're like, okay, I probably have enough time to like run upstairs and take a shower. And like, what could possibly go wrong in the time that I'm gone?
Right.
And you're like surveying the room, being like, okay, what could she get into? And this is like one of those things where it's like, you think like the older they get, the more you're gonna like not have to worry about that. And now that I'm like reviewing our teenage selves, it's like, no. Once you get to teenage, you're just a lot more capable.
Of getting into a lot of different kinds of trouble.
Yes. Which, we thankfully for the most part I feel like avoided.
Yeah.
We got reasonably unscathed.
Well, it's because like we were really good at finding the line between things you couldn't really get in trouble for, but were like still no one would otherwise like we're still like adventurous and you wouldn't normally go do.
Yeah.
I
guess that's true.
Yeah.
So that's good. But still, do not go out and go into storm drains.
Yeah, don't do that.
Very dangerous. Yeah.
Especially if it's raining.
However, if you're up for a game of Gears, if
you're up for a game of Gears,
get your pipe life on.
Find yourself some pipes, aka 3 to 6 year old children, preferably your own. Yeah. Don't just start go throwing kids.
Don't go throwing kids.
Yeah.
This is like the song Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls. I still don't know what it means.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
We weren't chasing tons of waterfalls.
We did, all the time. It's
what
like,
are you talking about?
Why would you not chase waterfalls?
We had a whole game called Waterfalling, and basically you just, jump from rock to rock down the river until you found the waterfall at the end of the, and
then you win.
In fact, the only way to lose was to fall in the water, and even if you did, you just get up and keep going.
Yeah, there was one time though that I fell into the water and I was so frustrated. I was exhausted, and we were out in the middle. It was so cold, and I fell in the water, and I'm like, waist deep, and I mean it was probably below freezing. I just punched the rock.
I do remember. I was laughing pretty hard.
Yeah, I know. It was sometimes I felt like it was like I was the youngest of the group, and sometimes I felt like it showed.
Oh,
it was like,
think so.
It was like, well, I mean, maybe not showed like in terms of like maturity necessarily or anything like that, but it was like, it almost felt like the fact that you guys had like at least a year, if not more than that on me. It was like, there was enough extra growth that it was just like I just couldn't quite always keep up.
Oh, I don't know though. I think the thing you fell off was like rock climbing, which I would have like assumed that was even then something you were more adept at.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it was. I fell in. I was the only one who fell in.
That's
so there's
true.
that.
Yeah.
So there's that.
I don't know.
It was so, but yeah, the whole everybody's just looking at me and like I'm so mad, and everybody else finds it completely hilarious, which only makes me more mad.
Of course, yeah. But it's like one of those things where it's like, of course, if you'd been on the other shore watching any of the rest of us fall in, you'd have been laughing too.
I don't know. I don't know. I've never been able to laugh at people when they fall. It's not a characteristic. It's like, it's just, I feel so bad for them because I know what it feels like to be there.
I have watched you watch the year in Carlin where Tyler goes over the wall on his bike, and I know you laughed.
Okay, well that's fair.
You laughed.
I mean, to be fair, okay. So the quick story to close out today's episode is that we do have what I always felt like could have been on America's Funniest Home Videos, because it's just it's like Tyler learning to ride a bike, and the way that our street was set up, there was like this really odd situation where there was like the curb, just like any other curb, like, you know, like where the rainwater would like pour its way down or whatever, except instead of it like butting up to a sidewalk or like someone's yard or something, it was just like a 4-foot wall into their yard.
Right.
So
I guess they decided they couldn't like build on a hill or something, so they just like dug the land next to the road to a level field or something.
It almost reminds me of like playing like Roller Coaster Tycoon or whatever, where you're doing like the grading thing and you're like changing the landscape of the environment. It's like you're like literally like whoop, and that's like, so the house was like lower somehow. But either way, so like our one of our parents is videotaping Tyler as he's like learning to ride a bike for the first time, and he's just like going and like turning the bike around to like come back towards mom and dad, and literally just like puts the nose straight into the front of the curb and just flips like completely over this 4-foot wall. And I mean, he was completely fine, but it was like
landed
one of those,
on some trash cans.
yeah. But it was like, it's an amazing video because on all of it is the camera, the footage, the turn, the fall, and then the camera doesn't even get turned off. You just see
like they're running,
mom
like,
or dad
oh no!
running with the camera. But of course, Tyler was completely okay, which is what I do feel like in hindsight makes it hilarious. But in the moment, I wouldn't have laughed.
Sure.
In the moment. Yeah.
Sure.
But after the fact, then it's completely safe. You know, as long as everybody's okay, I'm fine with it. Yeah.
Totally.
There we go. Anyway, guys, as ever, thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of The Pop. If you'd like to see all of our fun thumbnailing things, you can head on over to patreon.com/popcornculture. But otherwise, until next time,
pop.